Alright, we are back with another Cronos, the new dawn video, and this time we're going to be testing it out on the RTX 5080 and the 9800X 3D as usual, with base speeds of 4.70 GHz and 64 GB of DDR5 memory running at 6000 MHz on 4K settings with frame gen and all the other stuff. Okay, so let's just jump into the benchmark. Alright, starting things off on native epic settings with ray tracing turned on 4K. So expect anywhere from 30 to 35 FPS, which is a ballpark for the 5080 when you turn on ray tracing on native settings. I've seen this multiple times on other games as well. So that's the capacity of the 5080 on native settings when you turn on ray tracing. And during the fight scenes, when you're like killing the monsters, this game is like kind of unoptimized whenever you're in like a fight scene. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of particle effects, which is why I believe there's a big performance hit, because I've experienced this with the 5060 in the same kind of fight scenes. So, and yeah, that card has like 8 GB of VRAM, so that also is the reason why it happens. And it's not a big dip with this card. The frame time graph is pretty straight and flat, even though there's a little bit of dip here and there. It's much less noticeable. And I died because I'm a complete noob. I deserve it. Okay, now let's try without ray tracing and just native epic settings. So that will give us an additional 20 FPS improvement over, with the ray tracing turned on. So that's pretty good. So we are getting into the playable category. So we're just gonna fight this same guy again. And this time I was able to kill him, even though my aim was so trash, because I was playing on a controller, and this thing's auto aim assist system is kind of janky for me. So I was missing like most of the shots. We're just locking onto the target on a different area that I was intending to shoot at. So yeah, getting almost 50 FPS without ray tracing, that's better. Alright, now let's bump it down to high settings, native, and which will help us get more than 60 FPS now. So this is like a pretty smooth 60 FPS experience when you turn it down to high settings. Still using about 13 GB of VRAM, as you guys can see here, and using about 250 watts of power. Not terrible, but on the higher side of things. And yeah, it stays pretty much above 60 FPS most of the time, except in some areas where there's more lighting, is what I noticed. So yeah, it does go below 60 in some areas, but pretty much staying above 60 FPS. Really playable experience on high settings and 4K. Native, you're not even using any upscaling, so pretty good. And now moving down to medium settings, native again, and it doesn't seem to have any impact, because you can see it's pretty much saying this. It's pretty much staying the same around 60 to 65 and 70, just like we saw with high settings. And yeah, so I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know what medium even does. Does it even turn down any graphics, or is it just a bug in the game? I'm not sure, but we're not seeing any major improvement over high settings. So you just rather stick with the high settings instead of medium. You're getting more visual fidelity without losing a lot of FPS. So yeah, why not just stick with high settings if you just want to do that, So yeah, medium's not worth it. And we are gonna go down to very low settings, and that's gonna give us pretty much triple the FPS than medium. So we are looking at like almost 250, 260 FPS than what we were getting low. So from 50 to 250 is an insane jump from medium to very low. But the game still looks pretty decent, So we have like no other option. Like even on a 5060, I was able to get 100, 200 or 300 something FPS with the 9800X 3D on 1080p very low settings. So hey, if you have a really older GPU, if you go to very low settings, there's a high chance you can like really enjoy the game without losing anything. The game still looks pretty decent. There's all the effects, the special effects are still there pretty much, and you're getting way higher FPS experience. This is pretty good. So yeah. Okay, now let's go back to epic settings, but this time with DLSS quality upscaling and multi-frame gen. For some reason, you cannot use DLAA like native settings with MFG in this game. You have to have some kind of super sampling like DLSS or FSR to actually enable multi-frame gen. So I don't know why that is, because in other games that's not the case. You can just still turn on MFG even on DLAA settings. So I don't know why we don't have that in this game, but whatever. You still have multi-frame gen, so that takes us all the way to 130 FPS on epic settings. DLSS quality, which is pretty good, 160 to 170 sometimes. So pretty much staying above 120 FPS, high refresh rate experience, and the input lag is pretty, you don't even feel it there because you're playing on a controller. On a keyboard and mouse, there's a slight delay. I felt it, but if you're on a controller, it's a breeze. You know, you don't even feel like it. So every game, if every game is like this with multi-frame gen, then I can deal with that. But that's not the case in most of the games, because in this game, the game still looks good. I don't see any trails or artifacting around the character or anything, even with MFG. So this is a really good example of how it should be implemented. And there you have it. We are finally in the title screen, Cronos. That was a long intro, not gonna lie. But yeah, pretty good experience with multi-frame gen on epic settings. Okay, now let's turn off multi-frame gen again and then just try it out on DLSS quality epic settings. And that should give us more than 60 FPS. So this is pretty much upscale from 1440p, but 60 plus FPS. And sometimes it does drop below 60 FPS during fight scenes. But if you ask me, I would just play it like this. I don't care. This is a really playable experience on DLSS quality epic settings. You're not losing any visual quality. You're getting in the absolute best you can get on this game on 4K. And the game looks pretty crispy, sharp. And I would play the game like this if you ask me. And maybe add some frame gen as well, because you're not losing out on any delay, you're not having any input lag or anything. So yeah, I would play the game like this. And those of you who are not satisfied with DLSS quality performance and not getting constant 60 FPS, then you just go down to DLSS performance on the same settings, and that will definitely give you more than 60 FPS consistently. As you can see here, it's staying well above 80 to 90 FPS most of the time. Even when you're looking at a corpse or these creatures, that's when it usually drops below. But yeah, it's staying pretty solid 80 plus FPS all the time. So hey, DLSS performance is for you. You can get a completely great experience, even though it's now upscaled from 1080p. So yeah, you can play the game like this. And you can see the artifacting or whatever is happening in the screen right now because it's because of DLSS. I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix it in future updates, but for now, it looks like a mess, So DLSS performance epic settings would be my recommendation if you're playing on a 5080 on 4K. That's the best setting so far. Alright, last but not least, we're gonna go all the way down to ultra performance DLSS and very low preset with MFG turned on. To be honest, I was expecting at least 500 to 600 FPS. Something like in Cyberpunk. On 4K, that's what you get, but in this game, you're not getting more than 350 FPS. Unfortunately, I don't know why. And it's not even using that much GPU memory, maybe because it's very low settings. And we saw even without any frame gen or DLSS upscaling, we were pretty much getting 300 FPS native. So I was definitely expecting more than this, but I was disappointed, Not like I need more than 500 FPS in a game like this, but it would be nice to see. You're just using fake frames anyway, so... But yeah, I was a little disappointed. So that's about it. It doesn't matter if you just go all the way down to DLSS performance or ultra performance to gain the most FPS. You can just turn on very low settings and you should be good. Be getting really high frame rates anyways. So And that'll be it for this benchmark on 4K. Cronos, the new dawn. What do you guys think of it? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys are having a great time wherever you are. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.